Okay, welcome to Image Fillers. We're going to be going over our servo auger fillers, the 9-up, that we're going to be mounting on the Wrapade machine. These fillers currently are not mounted on the Wrapade. This is at our shop here at Image Fillers. We're just going to go over everything with you here. They are going to be mounted on top of their machine. So when you see stuff like the 9-place mounting here, this is just something we did here to show you the setup. It will be mounted separately on the Wrapade machine. We're going to go over a few things with you, starting with the PLC. Okay, the PLC is an Allen Bradley. It's a panel view C600. It is a touchscreen. We have 4 different modes here: auto run, manual run, edit recipe, and setup. In manual run, we have different parameters here. We can set, first of all, how fast we want our motor to turn. We're at 900 RPM. Actually, in real running mode, we're going to be running at approximately 450 RPM. In manual operation, doesn't really matter that much. It just kind of, this is near, you could use this for a few different reasons: to set up, or at the end of the day if you have some product left in the hopper. You have head 1, head 2, and head 3. Each head gets the same parameters. Jog is basically turns the auger, it bypasses everything and it turns the auger. Agitation is the blade that sweeps the inner wall of the hopper. You can put it in with fill, so when you're jogging, the blade will turn and help feed the product. You're going to want it in something. Or you can have it in continuous mode. Normally when you're just jogging, it's going to be in with fill. We're probably even going to have you just have the agitation with fill when you're in run mode as well. The slide gate, you have a slide gate control here, and we'll just go over that with you. Or there's a blade that's going to be, it's right in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just have the blade come out. There's 9 holes and there's a stop for it, and the blade comes out and it just gives it that little bit of split second stopping between fills, so we can stop any kind of dust getting through. That's what that slide gate. We're going to always have the slide gate in the open position, and you can see as we hit it, it closed up for a split second. We're going to go ahead and see if we. Okay, we're going to jog head 1, jog head 2. You can hear them turning. Jog head 3. The agitation, you hear it turning. It's head 2, head 3. And that's our manual operation. It's pretty simple. We can go into setup mode. We're going to kind of work backwards a little bit here. Agitation shut off. So if you had your agitation in continuous, the operator's left for a while and forgot to turn it off, after 2 minutes it would shut off. The agitation blade in that hopper forces product downward. Now your product is very free-flowing, so you're not going to have that much of a problem, but you still can have a problem if you leave it on too long. Done signal time. So this is the time that it takes after how long it takes for your done signal after it's sent to the Wrapade machine. Really, it's going to be set on pretty much 0.01, and that's how we set it, and enter. And let me do that again. 0.01. Okay, and we're set. Increment decrement amount. What that is when you're in the operating mode, in the auto mode, and you start to get a little bit different variation in your product, and you want the auger to turn a little bit more or a little bit less, and I'll show you that in the auto screen. You can just hit the more or less, but this is how much you want it to go more or less. And what we think is going to be the best solution for you guys is 0.02. There's not a whole lot that affects these augers because we're putting out such a little bit of amount of product, so 0.02 is what we're going to recommend. That can change though in production. Edit recipe, this is very important. So you can have and what I'm probably going to say is have a different recipe for each head, for each fill size. Right now I have recipe 1 mic. You can change the name of that. Turns, that's going to be how many turns you want your auger to turn. Right now we found that for 4 grams, right about 2.9 to 3 turns is going to put out about 4 grams of product. Again, each head's going to be a little different because, and I'll explain that, spinner plate setting is very crucial to this product since it's so free-flowing. This is how fast you want your auger to turn. 450 RPM seems to be optimal, but again, that can change in full production. Excel time, that's the time it takes for the auger to get to full speed. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to do this as I videotape. Okay, 0.01. That's how fast it ramps up to full speed, and we're going to recommend 0.01. Fill delay time. That's the time it takes between we get initiation and how long you want the auger to start turning. We're going to keep that as fast as possible. The only reason we would change that is if we wanted to delay the auger for some reason. If we were, running this product, we don't have to delay anything. If we had a different product, we would. We have that as a standard in our operation. Slide gate delay time. That's that slide gate. Do we want to delay it at all? With all our testing, we put this parameter in here just to have it, just in case. But it seems to be that slide gate delay time we're not going to need. We have it at 0.01. You might change it to be a little bit higher than that, but we're going to keep that as fast as possible. This is how long you want your gate to be open for. I chose 1/10 of a second, and that seems to be optimal. Anything more than that, it just stops the product from getting to the speed we want. So it's going to be a real quick gate time open or close, or it extends out because we just want to just give that one little delay in there to stop any of the dripping. Fill done delay time, that goes kind of back to your same parameter as in the setup time. We're going to keep that as fast as possible at 0.01. Agitation, that's that blade that sweeps the inner wall. We're going to keep that in with fill. Vibrating, we put vibrating in here, although with the vibrator we chose, we're going to just keep that off and have it run continuously. We're not going to put a solenoid valve in there, so it just seems the speed that we're trying to get here, vibrate on or off or with fill, is just not fast enough. We had that parameter in there for you, but we're just going to leave it there for you guys to have just in case. But for the products that we're running at this time, we're just going to keep that in the off position and run it constantly. We're going to hit return, and now we're going to our auto run setting. Now, as you can see, I've changed the parameters a little bit. Each head's a little different on the turns. We got 2.98 turns for head 1, 3 turns for head 2, 2.9 for head 3. If you want to go a little bit more, again, we're going to hit more, and you can see it went up 0.02. So the operator can hit that during the course of a run if you're getting a little light or a little bit heavy on a package. Recipe 1, you can see recipe 1 is selected mic. It could be recipe 1 mic for each head. You would hit the start button to start. Once we hit our start button, we're going to have a waiting, and we're waiting for initiation signal now from the Wrapade machine. So once they initiate, we're going to be waiting for that initiation signal, and that is pretty much it. Let's return, and we're back to our main menu. That's pretty much the PLC. You have an emergency stop right here. That's also going to be your on-off button. Real quickly, this is the back of the panel view. You're going to make sure this cable is always tied in. This is your communication cable to your PLC. This is your PLC, and it shows all your inputs and outputs right on the screen there, which is very nice. That is also an Allen Bradley. It's a Micrologix 1400. And this is some of your power supplies. This is your main control box. This is going to be mounted off the side of the Wrapade machine. Kind of working backwards here on the machine, but still in the control factor. This is your contactor and overload for your agitation. That's that, again, the blade sweeps the inner wall. That's your contactor, that's your overload. If you ever have packing your product for any reason, and this tripped out, you would hit reset right on the overload there. That's your servo controller. One issue that we have been seeing a little bit of, and we set the spinner plates to the correct level right now, and I'll go over that again with you. But if the spinner plate is a little too high and the product does pack up, you'll get an E19 code on here. The E19 code is a protection mode. If your servo wants to kind of turn one full turn, let's say, and it can't turn that one full turn in a certain amount of time, it'll shut down. It'll go E19. You have to shut the power down on the 220 volt single phase motors, and then restart it. Unpack the product and then restart it. That is your servo controller. This is where your main power comes in. You're gonna have your 220 single phase for your motors. You have your 110 for your agitation motors, and your power for your controls is your 110 as well. Okay, working our way up the machine a little bit here. This is it's just called your dividing head. Your dividing head has 3 equally divided spaces that your spinner plate, this is the spinner plate, will drop down through. This gap is crucial for your product. Your product is very, very free flowing. If this gap is too high, it will jam up. If it's too low, too much product comes out at one time and then jams our slide gate. So you want an optimum position for your spinner plate. The optimum position right now is where we set it at. Pretty much, you can keep it at this level, you know, forever. The problem is if you do want to clean it. So when you take your auger down, the auger, and I'll kind of show that to you in a little bit, you probably want to mark where you set this setting is, or just take a gap measurement, and I can get that for you as well on the spinner plate. But this is the optimum setting right now for your spinner plate. If you take your auger down, it will go back up in place. If you take your auger shaft, which holds the auger in place, off, then you have to reset it again. Everything is set in here correctly right now. You really don't have to change anything. Your dividing head is set in here. If you were to take your dividing head down, you would take this bolt off. It's self-aligning, so it would go right back up into place. You would not touch these bolts at all. We'll put a do not touch sticker there. This is the only bolt. It's self-aligning. If you touch these bolts, the dividing head gets all out of whack. So again, we'll put a little sticker there to say don't touch, but please let your operators know that. Same thing goes with the hopper. Everything is in line for your auger right now, and everything is self-aligning again. We have a coupling, which is double bolted underneath, so even if your operators do touch these, it doesn't matter. One bolt here loosens up the hopper and the whole hopper pulls down, okay? So these bolts do not get touched. This is the bolt that does get touched. Again, self-aligning pins, you put it back up, everything's in place. We're gonna work our way up with the hopper. I'm just gonna grab a little chair here and I'll be right back. Okay, working our way up the hopper. We do have the door off here. This door is just held in with some thumb screws. These are your quick release clamps. You're going to put these on to your hopper cover lids to tighten them down. This is inside the hopper. This is what I wanted to show you. That auger shaft is slotted, so it moves up and down. Right now it's at the optimum setting. This is how you would raise and lower your spinner plate through that auger shaft. Again, that does not need to be touched. You can probably clean it in place and everything. I'm not sure your cleaning procedures, but again, once you take that down and put it back up, it has to be back at the same setting. Otherwise, you're going to create issues. This is the blade that sweeps the wall of the hopper. You can see it goes out to the outer edge, and it helps fill the product. It helps keep the product flowing downward. And your product, even though it is free flowing, it's kind of a little unusual where it will, if the agitation blade's not moving, it will create a hole in the center. So the agitation blade has to be turning, at least with fill. That's what we recommend. Okay, working our way up to, we call this the head, the filling head. Basically, inside this head, we have our motor wires coming into here. Inside the head is going to be your servo motor, is inside to the left, and your agitation motor is to the right. It's chain driven, and you have a spindle with a belt up top, a timing belt up top. If you have any problems with the belt, you take off the top cover here, and that's how you get to your belt. If you have any problems with a servo motor or an agitation motor, you take this cover off. We do have fans that keep everything cool inside. Fan is located on the back of the machine. Around the other side of the filler, I'm just showing you the hole here that we have. We went flush so you guys can get your duct to go down inside our hopper. These are the tubes that are connecting from the dividing head down to our 45s, to our slide gate. These clamps, we want to have these clamps, this is right about in the middle between the tube and the clamp. We're clamping So when product flows down, we don't get, we want the product to go directly into these 45. So we clamp a little bit above there to make that happen. Coming down here, this is your vibrator and your regulator here. We're going to provide all the information for how much air is required for that. But this vibrator is shaking this plate, so when the product does come down, we get it moving down these tubes. I took another video that I had sent to Bill on the machines running at about a 45 per minute clip. Working our way down here, these are the vacuum tubes that we have provided. So you would provide your tubes right directly to these, and that's where the vacuum would be hooked up. And down here you can see this is the fill nozzle, and the vacuum tube is to the outer edge of it. These two inner tubes are Teflon coated, as well as the plate that the slide blade rides on, as well as the dividing heads themselves. They're all Teflon coated. That concludes the introduction to our servo fillers. Please give us a call if you have any questions at 610-466-1440. Thank you.